Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. Know that I appreciate you. It is I, Jay, and I'd like to welcome you to another day in the daily life of Jay. That's me. Okay. It is Thursday morning. What the heck? What is really going on? Thursday morning at was today, the 21st of January, 2021. It is 8:23 in the a.m. And I am headed to where? Work. That's where I'm going. To work. How you doing? How are you? How are you? How are you doing? How are you? What up, though? I pray that all is well. I pray that you slept well, that you had a peaceful, resting sleep, and that you are rejuvenated, re-energized, recalibrated, all of the re's that bring about energy. I pray that you are there. I slept actually pretty good last night. Slept pretty good. The husband made me go to bed at a decent hour, which was cool because I needed it. We had a little oldies party, or dusties party as we used to call it when we were younger. The dusties, meaning you had to dust the records off to play them. But yeah, he was DJ Chris last night, so we got to listen to some decent music, and I was a little bit in a stepping mood, so I stepped a little bit. I am not an expert at stepping, and if you don't know what stepping is, it's a thing that happens in the Midwest. I don't know what the equivalent here is in the South. Maybe like line dancing, scoot booting, I don't know what to compare it to here, or even where you are. If you are not from the Midwest or familiar with the Midwest, I don't know what to call it where you are. Maybe footwork? No, because footwork is a lot faster. Whatever. That's what I felt like last night. So I stepped for a little bit by myself. He didn't have the energy. I was cool with that. So yeah, that's what happened last night. Had dinner. We decided to go frozen. So we did that. But I did take something out today for dinner. He just has to tell me what he wants. I've got the live on Zoom tonight, so I've got to cook before I do that so that he can be eating while I'm doing that, or close to eating while I'm doing that. What else? I didn't do any work last night, and I am okay with that. I am okay with that. Oh, pardon me. I don't know where that came from. Oh no, I do know. I do know where that came from. Because I did wake up about 1:30, 1:45 last night out of a horrible, horrible dream. Horrible dream. And it took me a little bit to go back to sleep. I had to go into intense prayer, intense warfare. That's how bad that dream was. So I did that for probably, I don't even know. I was going to say probably 30 minutes, but I really don't know how long I did that. But after that, I slept very well. So, other than that, yeah, I slept pretty good. But today is a brand new day. My spirit is at ease. I still will reach out to the people that I dreamed about last night. My spirit is at ease, though. Yesterday was my dad's birthday. I mentioned that yesterday, so I talked to him for a little bit last night. My dad is hilarious. He is the biggest conspiracy theorist that I have ever encountered in my life, in real life. So it was kind of funny talking to him last night, but he said that he was good. So that's a good thing. And if I haven't mentioned it before, my dad has cancer, and he is back home in Chicago. He wants to move south, but he doesn't want to come necessarily to Texas. And I am thinking you stay put because your medical care is there, and we don't know. Period. So stay there where your medical care is, unless they tell you that there's nothing more that can be done, and maybe you should get a second, third, fifth opinion. But stay put. But he has this idea in his head that he is going to move to the south, to warmer weather. He said Nevada. I suggested Arizona, because he was talking about how warm it gets. And I said, well, Arizona gets pretty warm. Downright hot. Like feeling like you in hell. But yeah, he didn't mention Texas, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him looking at Nevada. He doesn't want to be in California, but I think he wants to be California adjacent. But anyway, it was a good conversation with him last night. What else? So yeah, that was it. Something that I meant to mention yesterday, and I didn't, and I'm sorry, I keep yanking on this thing because I'm not used to wearing a tam per se, a beret. I'm not used to wearing this, but I decided with what I have on that it worked perfectly. So I wore it, but I'm used to having something closer to my scalp, covering my scalp all the way around, and my ears. So it's a little, I'm just gonna fidget with it until I get used to it, so deal with it. It just is what it is. Because as you can see, my ears are not covered. So over by the bank, one of the bridges that I use, by my home, by our house, our apartment where we live, there, one day I was driving and we saw a duck. I had just left the bank and we went down the street that we don't typically take, and there was a duck in the yard, in one of the yards of one of the houses. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're keeping ducks now. Now, in our area, because of where we are, there are certain sections of our area that are still considered like a mix of rural and residential. So, and they'll let you keep like small animals, small farm animals, such as chickens and roosters, fowl, if you will. So I thought when I saw the duck that that family also had ducks, but it was out in the front yard, and not in the yard, but on the sidewalk, the little grassy patch on the sidewalk. So I was like, oh, okay, they've got ducks in one of And then another day that I drove, I went to the bank. I actually went to the bank, and there were like 3 or 4 ducks in a grassy patch on the bank property. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. First time I'd ever seen it, and they were absolutely ducks, but it was the first time I'd ever seen. I'm gonna have to switch lanes as soon as I can. I'd ever seen them like that here. In Chicago, it was a common thing, and they were always in the park. They were always in the park. It was common. So I would see the duck, and it was probably migration. I'm sure in Chicago it was migration, but I'm saying probably migration here. But I would see the ducks in the park in Chicago and think nothing of it. But here it was a little odd. So when I saw the 3 of them, it was like 3 or 4 of them together, I was like, okay, so it's not that someone owns the ducks. They are in the midst of migrating. But I still kind of thought maybe they would be around for a little bit. And so no, I went back and no, they were not there. Another time I went back, they were not there. But I did notice another, in that same patch of grass, another collection of birds. So I was like, okay, what is really going on? And I wasn't familiar with that particular bird. I wasn't really sure what that bird was. And I'm guessing it's like, the bird was actually kind of young when I was looking at it. So I saw them yesterday, and I was looking at them, and I was like, they're big, and they kind of look like turkeys, but they're not turkeys. That I know. I was like, oh, these might be turkey vultures. So I go to work yesterday because I took a picture and I took a video, and maybe I'll insert it in here. 12:34. So I took a video, I took a picture, and I said I'm gonna ask someone at work, because as I mentioned, our new employee is an animal person. He's got a horse. He, according to him, used to breed dogs and train dogs. So I said, okay, he should know what this is. And if he doesn't know, then maybe the other coworker knows, the young lady whose family has chickens and roosters. So I was going to ask her if he didn't know, or whomever I saw first, whomever I was able to get to first when I remembered. So I remembered, and he was there. I'm sorry, I feel like I just inhaled something, and it triggered my choking. So I'm gonna have a sip of water. That helps some. Not 100%, but some. So anyway, I showed him, and he said, yeah, that's a turkey vulture. So there's a family of turkey vultures living on bank property. It is some of the strangest stuff in the world to see, especially when you don't come from that. Like, again, ducks I'm used to, geese I'm used to, pigeons I'm used to, because in Chicago we have these birds. I'm even used to seeing not necessarily swan. There's another bird that comes through Chicago and sits for a bit. I think it's an egress, some kind of egress. I'm used to seeing those kinds of birds, but vultures are big here. Like literally and figuratively, vultures are big here. And I guess especially turkey vultures. And what do I mean by turkey vulture? So if you've ever seen a full-size turkey, wandering around in their yard, you know how big they are. And you know turkeys have the thing that I call the gobbler, but it's the excess skin, like a rooster has as well. These vultures have that. And they're huge and round like a turkey. And they're scary as crap. So, turkey vulture. I've never, like, if you see vultures on television and cartoons, you see this stark black bird with this weird long head. So they're funny looking enough. But to see one that literally looks like a mix of a turkey and a vulture together, it has the right name. That is what it is. Go look it up. Turkey vulture. So to see that is just so odd to me. I'm just like, wow. This is a real thing. And they were pecking around in the grass like any old other bird. Now, I will admit that I have seen some of them eating on random roadkill. I have. Not these particular three, but I have seen the turkey vultures in general, feasting on random roadkill. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go around here. And it's not pretty. That's not pretty at all. Not even. So yeah, it was just interesting to see it. I was like, oh my gosh, up close and personal. Let me stay away. I don't want. So I am actually, just like I did yesterday, going to end this video relatively short. It's going to be relatively short compared to what they usually are, I think, because I've got to go back to Tom Thumb. I went to Tom Thumb yesterday and I bought soup for lunch, which I ended up not eating, and I bought the soup for lunch, but I also bought fruit. I bought 2 apples, a pear, and some grapes. And I just looked at the grapes in the bag and said, oh, okay, they look decent in the bag. I got the suckers home. When I tell you, this is the worst bag of grapes I have ever purchased anywhere, including the worst bag of grapes that I had purchased before this bag that I purchased yesterday. So I'm going to take them back to the store and see if I can get a refund, because they were $5, and I am not okay with wasting money, period, but not $5 on something that I can't even use or gift to someone else. So I'm going to take them back and see if I can get my money back. I will not be buying any more. And this is the second thing that I've purchased from this particular location where it was no good. It was no good. I could do that, but I don't like that. And I could do this, which is fine, but I got to make sure that I... Anywho, so yeah, this is the same location where I bought that salad that smelled like crap, like literally feces. So I think what I'm going to have to do is not purchase unless it is out in the open, like the apples and the oranges and pears and things like that. Not purchase any produce from this particular store, which is such a shame, because one of the reasons why I haven't been eating as much produce lately is because the Walmart by me doesn't have the best produce. So when I can find a store, an actual grocery store that sells produce, I'm happy about it because it helps my body. So they encounter a store that has produce, and because they are a grocery store, it is one of their things versus a Walmart that has a little bit of everything. So produce isn't their specialty. It's very disappointing. And then it also does not help that produce has gotten so expensive. I was gonna say produce and fruit, but I mean it's produce. It's gotten so expensive. Like my grapes, I think everything I got was like $1.99 per pound. So yeah, I know that the apples and the pear were, because I just rang them all up together because they were all the same price per pound. But I think my grapes were $1.99 per pound as well. And I got 4 pounds. No, 2.5 pounds. I got 2.5 pounds. So it's $5 for something that is that expensive. You know, $5 for something, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. So I'm gonna stop in here and see if I can get my money back. I pray that I can. If not, then I've just thrown away. I'm going to be throwing away $5 because I'm not eating these grapes. And I literally took them out of the bag. I started to wash them, and I was like, I can't do anything with this one. Maybe I could do something with this one. And then the more I just started looking at them, I was like, I can't salvage enough grapes for it to actually taste like anything, you know? What are you driving? Good gracious. So yeah, this is what I'm about to do. This is what I'm about to do. So maybe I'll let you know tomorrow how it went. Maybe I'll come back on here to let you know how it went. That's what I'll do. I'll come back and let you know how it went.